right, DJ Bliss, thank you for coming on the podcast today.
Thank you for having me.
How are you feeling today?
Feeling good. Good day. The sun's out. The weather's getting a little cooler. It's almost time to switch the water heaters on. I think it's a good time in Dubai. Like when the weather starts to get better, the kids are going back to school, season's starting again. It's a nice time of year.
Are you saying kids going back to school is
Yeah.
a bit of a headache for you?
I'm glad they're going back to school. It's hard to entertain them, and they want like constant entertainment, and it's not easy. They have a lot of energy to give and to get, and I think school just helps out. I think school is too long. I still think like it should be shorter. I feel like they go away for too big of a part of a day.
Aw,
Yeah.
that's kind of cute to say that in the sense. So even though you just said that you're feeling great today, would you actually tell me the honest answer if you weren't feeling good?
I would just like break it down, but luckily you caught me. Like I've only done one thing before I came here. I haven't really gone through my phones and my emails and what life has. So I think maybe that's why.
So when you say,
But I think you would see it, no? Like if I was.
do you know sometimes people can have a good shop front?
Yeah.
And because you're in the music business and because you're in the media business, sometimes it can be quite difficult because you can have a poker face.
Fair. And also the eyes never lie. I don't know if you can see my eyes, but it's one of the reasons why I wear glasses all the time, because I work at night and day and the kids and all of that. So I always think like if you're tired, like the eyes never lie. So
Absolutely.
yeah, I think you can hide it in all of your face. Maybe you can have a poker face, but the eyes always tell the truth.
True. So I'm guessing then you're a good judge of character, right?
I like to think I am.
When have you been proven wrong then? Do you have any massive examples throughout your career where you've taken, I suppose, trust in someone and you've been mistaken?
I mean, I think I've been through it all, and I think it's the fabric of my character. And yeah, I mean, I've been proven wrong, lost trust, all this, just picking up on the words that you mentioned, been humbled, all of it, I think, good days and bad days. And I think they're all just important lessons, and it gets you to where you need to be. And that's right here in this moment right now, I think.
So when you say humbled, do you have any kind of like pinnacle moments throughout your career that you've been super humbled?
On a constant, honestly, I think, practicing gratitude and, being humble is not just something you just learn and that's it. I think it, takes a lot of effort and practice with, like everything else, like you get better at this podcast by doing more podcasts. And gratitude and humbleness, a lot of it comes from meditation. A lot of the meditation that you start with really just, takes away the ego, gets you face to face with just reality, your shadows, and, who you are as a person. And those moments, if you can be humble enough to humble yourself in that moment, it's a pretty cool experience. And it's on the regular. It happens all the time. And as time passes and you practice gratitude and, being humble, I think you get better at it. Like your game of golf, every now and then you still need to call the instructor and let him come over and, watch your technique and see if you're doing well. And like the pilot who reads the book right before he flies the plane. I mean, he knows how to fly the plane, but, he brings out a book just to remind himself about what it is. So I think those things help a lot.
Why did you start meditation?
By chance, maybe. I think I was drawn to it. When I was in my early 20s, I did a thing called Reiki. And
for the listener, what's Reiki?
It's like using energy to heal. It's a form of, I would say, a form of meditation, and it uses, palms and energy healing. So I went to this course and I was attending. And I took my dad with me as well. And I was like, this is interesting. There's something over here for sure. And then, I chose the name DJ Bliss. The word bliss also very common in the meditation world. And and a lot of like spirituality talks and a lot of motivational talks as well. The likes of Deepak Chopra always dropping that word everywhere. And I think, bliss, the highest form of happiness, and the fact that the word is very, related to meditation. And then just bits and pieces here and there, a little meditation, sleep audio at night, a little ice bath at 5 a.m. with some breath work, course here, a little bit here, a little bit there. And I like it. It's a good part of my fabric, I would say.
So you just mentioned how you brought your father. So I'm guessing your family's quite open-minded.
I mean, obviously they are. If they had a kid who was a DJ and they're from the Middle East, they are pretty open-minded. My dad, I remember taking him because he had like leg or back pain at the time. We were trying everything, and I was like, come with me. Let's just go do this. No harm. So I took him to it. He didn't really practice it so much afterwards, but I like to believe that there was some kind of healing energy for him. And now just, coming back and thinking about it here in this interview, just thinking how cool it was that my dad was part of that first time.
So what kind of family did you grow up in?
My siblings were all in like multinational jobs.
How many siblings? Yeah.
We're 5 altogether.
Oh, wow. So
yeah, big family.
Yeah, like typical Middle Eastern family.
Yeah. I don't know how my mom did it. I call her every now and then. I'm like, wow, mom. And my dad was, the sole provider of the house. My mom was, fully dedicated to us. He was in the toy business. I learned a lot of like business stuff from my dad, like over the summers. So I'd go work like at his office or at his retail stores. And yeah, that's how we grew up. 4 brothers, 1 sister.
What did your father think of you when you said that you wanted to be a DJ? Or was there an actual moment where you were like, Dad, I want to be a DJ?
I don't remember that moment like that. I never really went up, hey, I'm going to be a DJ. I was DJing a little bit when I was in college. And it was cool because I was able to like, I was making some money there on the side. So I was DJing a couple of nights a week and, I had some money to like, eventually get my own car. As soon as I finished college, I immediately landed a radio job. So when I got into radio, it was a bit more prestigious than just being a DJ. But actually for me, it was great because DJ and radio hand in hand worked perfectly. So they liked it, and then from there, maybe like many years later, I got into television presenting as well. So, and I was hosting events. Like I was doing a lot of different things, not just DJing. I was like hosting the Dubai International Film Festival. I'd like at this point presented in front of like every royal family member, as part of my emceeing or hosting career, and doing TV and radio and DJing at the same time. But DJing is where I started. It was my first true love. And today is, where I'm back as well. Kind of brought it back to the thing that I love the most. And I think they saw the journey. I opened my own companies and I had shops and I was supporting. I bought my mom her first car. They saw how well I was doing, for my career. I had like, office with staff and, multiple businesses at this point. So I think they always saw it growing. And it was also, their approval was always very important to me from a young age, because I was doing something that was not within the norm of the Middle East. But I said, if my mom and dad are cool with it, then I'm cool with it as well. And then I always had to like, make sure I kept that in my mind. Like whatever I did, would they like it or not like it? Because if they liked it, or at least didn't mind it, if they didn't mind it, then it would make life a lot easier.
What kind of kid were you? Were you outgoing? Were you?
If you ask me or my mom?
We'll go through both.
At what age?
So growing up, even as a child, were you someone who was very curious?
Very curious, middle child, Gemini.
What does Gemini mean to you?
Oh, best star sign in the world.
Until the Middle East, right?
It twisted my arm.
Until I moved to the Middle East, I never used to look at star signs, but I feel like people really look into them.
I don't know. I think it's definitely a Middle Eastern thing. We used to have this thing like back in the days, like newspapers and magazines. There was the horoscope, so you'd always open it and read it,
and go to the back page.
But yeah, Gemini, fun personality, bad rep. I think you'll never get bored when you're around a Gemini. Like that's what I hear a lot. And creative, a lot of the great creatives are Geminis. Um, yeah, and I think it is what you make of it at the end of the day. But there's always a little some truth to it. Yeah.
How would your mom describe you?
My mom said I was because I always tell her stories about my son. I'm like, he's such a troublemaker. He's like, yeah, he's just like you. I'm like, what? What's on you? It's nuts. Um, that's what also my mom says. I was very like in my own world and very mature for my age. Always, I always had to do whatever was on my mind.
Mm.
And I'm like, great. That's great characteristics, actually. You say I'm persistent and consistent from 5. But yeah, those are the stuff that she says, and I can see it. I can really see it. And, you know, we have some videos of when I was like 5 years old, and I'm watching like my son. Like I'm like, the fruit doesn't fall far from the tree.
Mm. How has your personality changed the minute you've kind of got into the DJing business?
Oh, so long ago, I don't remember. I think it's a constant evolution, to be honest with you. You know, you learn to be in different rooms and different meetings and meet different types of people, different nationalities, different settings. And I think you just learn to wear, you know, so many different hats as you're going along the journey. But I don't think it really changed who I was, you know, as far as my personality. Maybe it brought it out. You know, I believe everyone's who they are inside. It's just about whether you are able to bring it out and just be who you are.
Did you ever feel nervous being in these kind of rooms with high profile people?
Absolutely.
Imposter syndrome.
For sure. I mean, I still get it. Every time I step on a stage, that first few seconds, you always have these like butterflies in your belly and you're, you know, not sure what happens. And I always think it's so weird that I get it, but apparently everyone gets it. You know, obviously when it was a high profile situation, you're worried about like reading a script or, you know, the teleprompter running and hoping that it's not going to go wrong or whatnot. But you hope for the best, you do your best, and, you know, things always work out for the best. That's the mentality you should have. Light bubble around you.
Yeah, they say 75% of people are afraid of public speaking.
I can believe that.
It's second most terrifying thing for someone to do, and first one is death. So,
wow.
yeah,
Right behind there?
Yeah, swear.
Yeah, it is petrifying. I can see it. It's not. I think it's becoming a little better now with social media, but I can still see it. You know?
Is there anything that you tell yourself before you're going to perform that helps regulate your nervous system?
Yeah, don't F it up. You got this. No, I honestly, I like to just, and if you ask people around me, I stay super calm. Everything's going to happen the way it's supposed to happen. Sometimes I have my whole set ready. Sometimes I haven't got anything ready. And, you know, I believe everything is just the way it's supposed to be. Pause, breathe, relax. Let's go do this.
So take me along your journey of your first song that you created.
Oh, man. The first song I ever released.
Yeah.
It wasn't a great song.
I love the honesty.
I learned a lot from it. It was not the genre that I wanted to be doing. At the time, it just sounded super cool. That was a humbling moment. There you go. You brought me back to a humbling moment. And I just thought it was the greatest song in the world. It was my first song, and I put so much energy and love into it. And, you know, I talk about it in one of my videos. I'm like, I loved it, but the world hated it. And that's just the reality, you know? Would I go back and change it or not do it? Nope. Do it again every single time, because you don't learn unless you do. And that song landed me another car deal. It got me, it opened my music chakra, my music releasing chakra. So I was now, I never had that. Well, I've never released a song before. No, well, that's behind me now. What's next? So it taught me a lot of great lessons, and yeah, I'm grateful for it.
So you mentioned like you've been quite successful in terms of business. When I look at most successful people in the music industry, seems like they start off with nothing. Do you think, now I could be speaking from outside where I don't actually know this information, but did you start your music career on being financially stable?
No, not at all.
Okay, so
Not at
that's
all.
interesting then.
Yeah. Actually,
Mm,
when I was DJing in college, by the last part of it, I was actually paying my own college tuition myself as well.
wow.
And I was ready to buy my own car.
Mm,
And even while I was in college, before I even DJed, the way I bought my first bit of equipment was I would rent it from someone and then re-rent it to somebody else and then like keep it for a long period. So if he was like, I don't know, for example, 100 for a day, I'd say I'll give you 200, but let me keep it for a week. And he said, all right, fine. But I
mm,
was renting it already like for way more money and I was making a profit on it. And now I had the equipment for a whole week to practice being a DJ myself. So I would do a lot of those kind of things and slowly start buying my own equipment and rent it and then having like all the stuff that I was doing. So I was very like switched on when it came to business. And that came from my dad because I used to work at his office. I used to watch what he would do. And I worked at his retail stores as a very young kid, by the way. I was like 14, 15. My summer holidays, I'd be working with my dad always. And even as I got, older, they would like leave me to run he had like a toy store and I was like working in the toy store at the age of like 14, 15. So I was, I learned a lot of things and these things I think helped me. So by the time I finished my college, I was already paying my own college and then I started paying my, uh, younger siblings, tuition as well and jump into radio. Now I'm a radio presenter and a DJ and I'm making even more money and got myself a convertible car. Like I was just, you know, very I was very like focus driven. I never took I don't even remember taking any money from my parents since college, really.
that's amazing.
And when I started college, it was off the back of a summer where I was already had my first DJ gig at a theme park called Wonderland. And then I got fired from that job for not doing the job. I was like learning how to mix,
Mm,
how to use the equipment, and I got fired from it. And I was working with my dad as well, so I had some pocket money. Go into college, they've paid my tuition, obviously, and then I started DJing while I was there. So I was already making my own money. And by the end of it, I said like I was paying my own tuition, my siblings' tuition, and then got my job, bought myself the car. So I learned pretty quick. So I don't remember taking any. I don't even remember college days, but I would assume maybe like when I first started college. I don't even remember. Yeah, I was making my own money and just doing it all myself.
I feel like there's such a misconception around Dubai where people who grew up in Dubai,
Yeah,
talk about the
especially
golden spoon.
Emirati. It's yeah,
Exactly, yeah. So
yeah,
could you actually explore that a little bit more, as in like not all Dubai people are rich?
yeah. I mean, it's fact. It's a fact. There's people living regular lives doing normal things. I mean, there's the opportunity. I'm sure I could have just studied something in college or university related to management and then became a senior person and then a CEO maybe and then maybe so on and so forth and but I chose a different route. I followed my heart, I followed my passion, and it was a different route.
Mm,
And I was able to build like all of this by myself. Like it was literally from my first paycheck to all the
mm,
offices and staffs and businesses and everything that I did all by myself. So
mm.
I chose that path. Like the other option was available to me, and Dubai is a great place to live, and there's opportunities like that. Some people are born into it. Some people can achieve it
Mm.
just through their own career path as well.
When life's too easy, there's not less satisfaction to back it, because you get this dopamine rush from things that you earn.
Yeah. And there's a lot of people doing that now. There's an Emirati kid who wants to get into the coffee business and his family business is something completely different and he starts from scratch.
Mm.
You go and you can have all the money in the world, but you still have to go learn to be a barista and sit with certain people and learn the art of it.
Yeah.
So I think yeah, it's a misconception. I don't think it's a misconception. I mean, I think there's people
Well,
who
maybe from I probably believe in the misconception because I'm from Ireland, right?
Yeah.
And I think from that side of the world, it seems like, oh, people in Dubai have it so easy and blah, blah, blah. You know, like the
You mean like as a whole or just the Emiratis, like the locals?
locals. Yeah,
Yeah.
locals.
We're
They're
only
like,
20%. Come on, guys.
I thought it was 10%.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think maybe 20 at
But it's
most.
again a lot smaller. Yeah.
Yeah. We're only 20. It's the government has really done a great job to take care of its people
Which is amazing.
as they built the country and the cities for the whole world. And there's a lot of great benefits, you know, for the locals, and those benefits are changing, but they're still there to support in any ways, you know. So whether you want to build your house or you want to start a new business and you want to get a license, when you get married, you might need help for it, and you know those things are there for people to help them out to take care of a very small population, and I think it's great. There's, you know, from healthcare to all of those things. Now, maybe historically, you know, Dubai wasn't, you know, as big as it was now. You know, the population as a whole is increasing. So there was a lot more focus on the locals because it was, you know, they were just there and they were like majority families. But today it's like, no, like families have expanded, and, you know, 5 kids turn into 15 grandkids, and 15 grandkids turn into 20, 30 great grandkids. So generations are changing, and, you know, people are trying different things, doing different jobs. You know, today you'll find an Emirati working at the cashier of Carrefour, you know. They're working on as hostesses and hosts on flights. They're baristas in coffee shops because that's what they want to do. I think you know, it's expanded a lot over time.
What was Dubai life like growing up? Because it's so different now, right?
I don't even remember anymore. Very different, yeah. I think maybe like if you told me like which era, like I would be able to like really pinpoint it, because I'm, you know, born and raised here, never left, so I was here
Yeah.
through it all, and it's been a real change, a real transformation. But
What were some of the struggles that Dubai faced through this transformation that you've acknowledged?
I don't think there were so much struggles. I think it was all always in a positive. I think the struggle was to kind of like keep up with, you know, how fast it was moving. But it's the same story of streaming music, or the same story of Chat GPT, or, you know, any of those things. You know, at first you're like, whoa, this is a little too fast and too good to be true. But if you, you know, if you look at the positives of it, and if you surrender to it, then there's opportunities, I think. And it's across the board for everything, every part of every single industry, whether it's a certain kind of sneakers that you want, or a vinyl player, or if it's food at 2 a.m. or a mall that
You should not do the 2 a.m.
in case I don't. Or if you want to take a run in the mall, then, you know,
I know, I did that the
yeah, Habibti, come to Dubai.
I know. So has there been anything that, you know, with the current Dubai itself that you're unhappy about? Because I can imagine, I don't know, for being Irish, right? We have so many different nationalities in Ireland, but Ireland still has a lot less different nationalities than
Yeah.
Dubai does. It's so,
Yeah.
like, it's so advanced when it comes to the amount of different nationalities that you have there. Do you feel like Dubai is being lost?
No, because it's always really been like this.
Mm.
If you look at the percentage ratio, it's always been like that, right? Everywhere I went, my first radio job, there was not a single local over there. It was completely British Western expats over there. I was the first one. And then we have, like, you know, our Emiratization rule is having 10 or 20% locals working at the firms, right?
Mm.
So if you think about it over time, it's always been that 10, 20 percentage mark anyways. It's just Dubai has become bigger. The UAE has become bigger. So it's just a lot more of us and a lot more of you guys. So the percentage, though, has always been the same. So I don't really feel it different. If anything, I see it more as a positive. I think it's impacted it, you know, way more positively, and it's helped speed the process of this new Dubai. And also, I love airports and I love duty frees. And Dubai is like one big duty free. That's what it feels like.
Mm.
People coming in, going out, different nationalities, and and I like people watching anyways. So it's for me, I love it.
So just to go back to like the whole music industry, you started off doing R&B, right?
Yeah.
So when I look back in time, like you look at Tupac, Biggie, the content they were
The
pushing out,
classics.
yeah. Do you feel like there was a little bit of red tape with the content that you could push out, being from Dubai, being from the Middle East? Like, because I feel like in the US, right, there's no red tape, anything goes. Yeah. So do you feel like you to be quite careful or?
You do have to be a little careful. At the end of the day, we're not the United States, and you see these. I see these TikTok videos of like people just assaulting like authorities over there. Like when I see it's coming from this culture over here, it's like whoa. So that's America for you. And then there's, of course, they have their freedom of speech and whatnot, but also they have a lot of struggle and things that happen over there that doesn't happen over here. So naturally, especially rap and hip hop, comes from a place of struggle. And, a lot of these great rappers were actually talking truth. And, that's kind of how rap's changed, I think, over time. There's not a lot of those like greats that write those great lyrics. I mean, as a rapper over here in the 70s or 80s, I mean, what was the real struggle, that was to rap about? It wasn't, the struggle was really to trade across the creek and go to all these other countries and, um, do business and, the start of one of the greatest cities to ever exist. When you talk about rap, when we're talking about Biggie and Tupac, we're talking about New York, we're talking about LA, we're talking about like, these places that were the core of rap music and the struggle was real. And these guys are telling you like this poetry, it's art. So naturally they can release music like that. Now I know there's a lot of violence associated to it as well, but it was part of their culture. It was the life that they were living. When you come back over here, we didn't have that. So that's why, I think there's not a big culture of rap music. And where you're seeing rap really come out next outside of America or the UK, who are sort of the main, exporters of that kind of music. It's starting to come out of, the Arab countries that have struggle, have numbers, have that kind of life. The Egypts, the Morocco, the Algeria, France, so a lot of good rap coming out of there because of the stories that they have. Over here, we're in the middle of it. We're building the foundation of what the music culture is going to be over here, and it's going to be a representation of what it's like. What we said earlier, it's 20% Emiratis and 80% all other nationalities from around the world, and that could create something pretty cool. And because music's also like really crossing boundaries and genres, so. And that's what I'm trying to do as well myself as well. So when people ask me what like my genre is, it's like it's really a representation of Dubai. Like I feel like I want to be able to play a song at a duty free and everybody would love it. And that's how dance floors are. That's how stages are. When you go to these like big stages, like everyone flies from around the world. The music is universal. It's unconditional. It's it's what brings us all together.
What does music mean for you?
Medicine, emotions, stories, and just part of my everyday life, to be honest with you.
When do you get your most creative flow going?
At night, for sure. At night.
And is there times, because like I do see like artists, like say for an example, like Michael Jackson wakes up at 3 o'clock in the morning and he wants a song and he wants to produce it.
Yeah.
So has there been there any moments or stories that you have like that where you're just everything has to stop and you need to create?
No, but I'm constantly at my desk, and sometimes I'm like in there. I'm like I cannot leave. Like it's coming. I could feel it. And I could just feel something coming. So just playing around with ideas and getting there and just watching time. Just the luxury, the greatest luxury or currency in the world, time. Just spend it on there, and I could just feel like there's I'm gonna come out with something.
Do you think you can be creative when you're in a stress state?
No. Not possible.
So this is like the interesting thing that I like to kind of unpack is the fact that when someone's like financially struggling or they're having like any sort of struggles at home, they can't be their true potential self. So to create, has there been moments in your career where your just creation has gone completely because you've had something happening in the background?
I mean, ups and downs all the time. And, because thankfully I never had to like, okay, this is like a whole 6 months a year. I couldn't just do anything because of it. But, like, just being a business owner, the father of 3 kids, having so much going on like around in life, like, I even look after my father's business now because he had a stroke and he's kind of like retired from work. So there's that business, a couple of businesses that I had, which I'm slowly trying to like just, move away from. It's not even so much about like stress, like bad stress. It's just like having to, if you have to sign all these checks and release these payments and talk about who's leaving and who's joining and hiring and signing and releasing bank payments, like it becomes a lot on your plate. And when you have a lot on your plate, it doesn't leave room for creativity. Creativity needs to be just open, peace, space, time, and, freedom. And it's kind of what we spoke about when we first started. I don't know if it was off camera or on camera, but you're like, how are you having a good day? It was on camera, right?
Yeah.
And you said, would you tell me if I wasn't? And that's why I said, I think if I wasn't, you would probably know. And it's the same thing when it comes to creativity and music, because, and my answer to you was, I haven't opened my phone yet. I haven't really like got into what's happening today, and you keep it fresh and clean. And I think it's also another important part of before you go to sleep, not picking up your phone and doing that. And when you wake up in the morning, first hour, like your hour of power, let it be for you as well. So all those things, I think it's all those things that affect your time, your peace, your mind, for you to be able to be creative.
How has fame affected your mental health?
In a good way or a bad way?
Always. I want everything. Give me all the details.
Broad question.
So right, let's start with how has it impacted your mental health negatively? And do you have any kind of examples of moments where you've been in your deepest, darkest moments because maybe you felt validation through fame, likes, the stage, the next gig that you've had? I would like you to kind of develop that a little bit.
I mean, the reason why I asked you to elaborate is because, I've been through so many different career paths almost. But I think mental health was something that really popped up, in the last few years. And a lot's happened in the last like 4 or 5 years, in the world around me, family, and just career choices. So I think, what we spoke about earlier is about not having time, and the stress of all these things then cause a situation where you're not able to be creative. So when the list becomes more, and you're even less creative and not be able to do what you love doing the most, I think it leads you to a place of, okay, we're sitting at a table with like mental health now. All right. Because this is like, this turning into a pattern, and, I'm not feeling so good anymore. So I want to understand all of this, like what's on my plate and what's actually going on. So, and I always used to like listen to a lot of people talk about it, especially like, a lot of artists, a lot of like, people who used to bring that up, and I never really quite understood it. I'm like, what is the problem with being, when you're famous, you have everything you wanted, right? So what is there to, suffer from? And then I really started understanding it a lot more. I was starting to like really dabble in this like space, and everything was super stressful, and like life was getting super real right before my eyes. So yeah, I really felt like, fame, and again, that's why I said I don't want to say this as a whole, but I think fame definitely takes its toll on your mental health if you don't really pay attention.
I think you go from such high moments in your career that, of course, what comes with a high needs to go low, right? So it's
Yeah.
how do you find yourself in the middle? So how do you regulate yourself to find yourself in the middle when you have such high situations?
It's for me, it's not so much about the highs and the lows of fame.
Mm,
It's it's more about it's more about the lifestyle. I couldn't really care that much about, I was so famous yesterday and I'm only half, I have half the likes and half the views and people are not, I kind of like dealt with that a long time ago. It's more of, yeah, social media plays a big role in it, people sitting behind their keyboards and just writing comments. And I think for me, it's more from a place of, well, that's not even true. You know, that's not even my story. And that's not what I did. That's not what I said. And you have the completely wrong example and picture of me, from what you've seen. And that's where the problem really comes for me. Really not about the other thing where it's like, oh well, so famous or not so famous.
when you reach to that level of fame now where a lot of people know you, how do you trust people? How do you let people in? Or are you cautious?
I think I've become a really good judge of character now. And it's not really so much about letting people in or not letting people in anymore. I think it's just we're just here, and we take it every day at a time. We take every person at a time as well, and just follow your gut instinct and just be a little bit more thoughtful in your approach. And I think we all have the answers. I think our intuition or that voice within in our head or in your heart or in your gut, it usually has the right answer for you. It has something for you. If you're curious enough with it and you tap in and you go back to like stories where you're like, man, you absolutely knew that feeling. It was so right. Why did you like go against it? Because you talked yourself out of it. You rarely, I think that intuition feeling and coupled with your mind, your heart, and just your knowledge, if you put it all together and really sat down and had some seriously good, deep conversations with yourself, you'd be surprised how much you actually know yourself.
Mm. Is there anything that makes your intuition foggy for you? For an example, I would suggest, right? I used to drink alcohol, I gave up alcohol, and then I felt like my gut feeling, my intuition was crystal clear.
Yeah.
Is there anything that makes you foggy and that your decision making?
I know the things. I haven't done it. I know that obviously it's part of your keeping your physical body healthy as well. It's a mind, body, and spirit thing. So obviously, treat your body like this is your home, like this is your vehicle for life. And it's import export, whatever. The better you import, the better it exports, from what you eat, from what you say, from what you do, from how much you sleep, from how much water you drink, from whether you're eating the things that are good for you or not. Reduce inflammation. There's so many great things that you can be doing for your body. I think all that together can create a great body, a great body of work, if you may. And when you have this great body of work, it can do magic and wonders for you. But don't expect to be eating at 2 a.m. and fast food and putting junk in here and trying to figure out why it's not working. Try putting diesel into your car and you'll understand.
It's so with being a DJ, right? Like your lifestyle isn't incredibly healthy when it comes to sleep and having regular patterns. How have you managed that? Or have you been the typical DJ that's flying here, there, and everywhere for gigs and has maybe sacrificed your sleep? Like, have you found yourself in those moments where your health has deteriorated over your passion and your growth of your career?
I have had moments like that. there was a time where I was doing 6 radio shows a week. I was doing like 2 or 3 days of TV work, and I was DJing 3 or 4 nights a week, and I was working breakfast morning radio. So I'd finish DJing at 3 in the morning, and I was ready to go at like 5 a.m. And I think I was burning the candle from both ends, as they say. But now I'm like, no, like now my sleep is super. I mean, obviously sometimes there's some schedules that make it a little bit difficult. And also, the kind of music that I play now and like the lifestyle is more like, beach parties and concerts and festivals and different kind of parties. Not all just like nightlife every day of the week, thank God.
Because being a father now and obviously a husband.
Not so much about that. It's just, I love playing clubs because it's like where it's my playground. But I just like I think the party culture is changing. Look at all these parties that are happening in coffee shops now as well. Like so many different things are happening, and just Dubai's actually got 9 great months of weather too, so outdoor parties are so much better. Every now and then, when I have to balance it out, it is difficult. I am a night owl too, by the way. Even if I'm not working, I can't really sleep that early. But I'm trying to, together with like some experts, have come to the conclusion that I need to get at least minimum 6 to 7 hours a day uninterrupted sleep, which is not easy, but I try. And just try and like, eat healthy, be in the gym, and do the best that we can.
So Netflix, Dubai Bling, when did this happen? When did it come up? When did they approach you? Did you approach them, or what happened?
They approached me. I got an email. I thought it was spam. I didn't reply at first, and they wrote me another email back, and they were like, it's a production company who's filming a show for, I don't think they said Netflix at the beginning. And I'm like, whatever, like I didn't really pay much attention. They asked me to send like an NDA and some other details, and they took an interview, and then interview 2, interview 3, and then next thing you know, there was like, I was like, still don't believe it till there's a contract with, if I see the word Netflix, I'll believe it. And then one day we got this like email from Netflix. We had to go through this like website and check some stuff out. And then I think that day I was like, oh, okay, this is really happening. And yeah, it was about just over 3 years ago. And yeah, we did 3 seasons, and we just wrapped up the last season. Just got aired a few months ago, earlier this year.
Did you know who you were going to be working with alongside on the casting prior to?
I had heard some names. I didn't know all of them. I'd heard some of them. But yeah, we kind of like all met they invited us all one day right before we started filming. We sat at a big long table and just met each other there. And they're like, well, you're going to be friends with this person. That person's going to be friends with that person.
Yeah, because I think there was one character that was on there that you didn't see eye to eye with, Chris Fade.
Only one? Have you watched all 3 seasons?
I haven't, but I haven't. I did do my research on you, but I didn't. I did, yeah. But I didn't watch everything. But yeah, how do you deal with conflict in front of the camera?
Approached it like a warrior. Yeah, just walked straight into the forest and just tried to have a confrontation. It didn't happen.
So when it comes to reality TV, then, like, how much of that is real?
Oh boy.
Are you gonna get in trouble for this?
It's a difficult question to answer because if I was doing a podcast over here and my sister jumped into the room and you told me that it was pure coincidence, like I would tell you no way. But we're having a pretty good conversation over here, right? So if we did all of those together in one podcast and you released the video like that, like, and people said, yo, is that podcast real or not? I cannot answer if it was real or not real because, my sister was planned, so that was not real. But our conversation was pretty real, so that part of it's real. Does that...
I love the way you just tried to skirt around that.
Does that answer your question?
Do you know what? I feel like you're an honest person, that you would give me an honest answer.
We would.
But you've answered that pretty well, so I'll not hang you.
Thank you.
on the podcast.
No, I'm here to... I tell you whatever you want, like, and I think coming off a show like that, I think it's important for people to hear real stories and just to understand, or maybe even empower people to have a better judge of character, to be able to answer that question for themselves when you see anything like that, in life. I'm just talking about in general. sitting trying to explain to my kids that, you know, cartoons are not real. And I think that's where that's the only thing that we can really do, like really just open people's eyes and minds, and just be open to the fact that, you know, you can watch a movie or anything and be a good judge of character of what was real and what was not.
Has Dubai Bling represented you as the person you are today?
According to me, no.
Netflix, what have you done?
It's not actually them. The show's produced by a production company. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. I still have my Netflix subscription. I love it.
So what's Netflix? We can get a sponsor over here.
They should. They're good people.
So what has been so different to the person you are? Like, have you been
I mean, look,
misrepresented on Dubai Bling?
I think now sitting here knowing, understanding what a format like that produces, like I understand it a lot better. But, you know, your question was really to me, and me sitting there watching myself on TV. Is that really me? My answer is no to that. And for a lot of reasons, you know, we don't edit the show. We don't see the show before it comes out. And there's really no control, right? So when the control's in somebody else's hands, you can really do whatever you want. They're making the show, not me. So it's almost like, I don't know, it's a cross between being an actor but not an actor. I don't know. It's a weird one. Some people have told me that before. Like, just if anyone asks you, just say you were acting.
Just to cover your back.
Yeah. I'm like, I cannot, because I do some real stuff. Like, you know, we found out my wife was pregnant with my daughter on the show. That was real.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how do you feel when you're watching yourself back on Netflix?
You know, you want to know the truth? I've only watched season 2 and season 3 once. That's it.
Yeah?
Yeah, just once through when it came out, both of them. I've seen bits and pieces here and there, like if somebody was watching or like clips, but...
Do you feel nervous?
After season 2, I did.
Why?
I don't know. I just had a weird feeling in my gut while we were filming that whole season. Something was just not right. It was off. And when it came out, like, I just didn't have a good feeling. And then, like...
And what happened?
I had a pretty bad experience with people on social media. You know, a lot of people were coming to me and telling me, like, really ugly, mean, dirty, very just horrible stuff. And it was just nonstop. It was just going, like, my DMs and my comments. And
what kind of stuff were they saying?
I don't even want to remember, but a lot of every nasty thing you can think of, you know, from treat your wife better to what kind of guy are you, and your music is this, and just, you know, when people get that kind of power, which you do have in social media, and you have an opinion, you're not going to just stop at, you know, look at Google reviews. Whenever it's a good review, it's 2 words: really good food, had a great time. But go read the bad reviews.
How do you feel when you've had negative comments? Does that question your confidence, your relationship, or how did you feel after?
It's hard to kind of like take it all in. You know, I always say you have to have thick skin, but no matter how thick your skin is, like, it hurts. But you learn from it. You know, you're lucky to have good people around you who explain to you the concept of the fact that this is not real. Like, never and ever have you ever, and someone said to me, have you ever walked into like a room with like how many comments are on your post? I said like 1,000, 500,000 comments. He's like, have you ever walked into a room with 1,000 people, and did one person ever come to you and say anything close to one of those things that they send you on DMs or comments? I said, absolutely not. So there you go, because it's not real. It's somebody sitting behind a computer, maybe not even a real person. It could be just someone who's, doesn't like you or just didn't like your character and is just going there and just writing a whole bunch of stuff. You were never going to meet that person. They're never going to say it to you face to face. They're not going to have the courage to say it to you face to face. And the reality is it's not real.
Yeah, I often say never take advice. If you see a bad comment, would you take advice from that person that said it? And if the answer is no, then just let it go over your head.
I mean, if you can get past that first feeling of how crap it feels, you click on their like profiles as like no profiles or like it's always some random stuff. It's not even like, but some of them, they go into like in-depth detail, their real accounts, and like you're like, oh wow, okay. But you learn from it,
Have you ever been threatened? Like since
threats? And good question. Have I seen threats? And probably.
Because I know obviously in the Middle East anyway, it's not
yeah.
You're a little more safe here than I can imagine in Europe.
But they don't care. People on social media don't care. They would send threats too. And just like, I'm telling you, just like the worst things you can think of.
So what have been...
I'll put them out one day so you can read them.
I would love to see that. No, I'm all about the positive vibes. I'm a positive person. So what have been...
And that's what I am too. I'm a positive person. And after all of that, I'm sitting here at this table and having this talk about it. And, when I was sitting in my room, just like miserable, thinking about like how bad life was because of the situation at that hand over here. And now I'm just sitting over here and I'm thinking like that's really past me and behind me, and life goes on,
What has been some of the greatest things that have come out of Dubai Bling for you?
I mean, I think DJ Bliss was the best thing to come out of it for me. I got to remember who I was again. It took me back into knowing what I don't want to do and what I do want to do. And what I do want to do is just get back into doing music and DJing and impacting people in a positive way and just making people happy and, having a good time, raw, unedited, fun smiles, just realness and, just music like dance floors. Like it's always just good vibe. People have decided to take a flight somewhere or buy a ticket to an event to come there and see you and have just a genuine good time, and just like it just really reminded me to, to put everything aside and just go back to my first and true love, which has always been just DJing and music.
So I'm sure after doing Dubai Bling, you've probably had a lot of opportunities come in your plate. How do you decide whether an opportunity is right for you? Because I can imagine you probably get a lot. And I know Dubai as well, there's so much going on. So how do you really focus and understand what's right for your future?
Nothing's really come where we're like, oh, we cannot do this. It's just not, it doesn't work with us. I mean, I think brands usually pick well. I think maybe like a couple of times, one or two, I'm like, I don't really, see this like happening. Maybe it was, the brand that I don't want to associate with or work with. But generally, I think it's been working pretty well. As we move forward, there's a lot of talks that we have is to make sure that whatever we're doing, whatever collaboration brand opportunities fits well with me and my brand and what I stand for as well. So that like the people who are following me also don't feel like, well, wait, why did you bring this weird person to the party? We're used to seeing you doing you. So it's kind of that's kind of my thought or my mentality towards it.
What kind of advice would you give to potentially even an entrepreneur that has a lot of opportunities that's coming into his zone or her zone, and how do they focus and how do they make the right decision from a career standpoint?
An entrepreneur, I would say study law, do a course in it. It would help you a lot. And just
why?
I think law is such a key part of every business. And the more you learn about the law, the more you learn to operate. And this works in any industry. And I think it can help you no matter what career you're on. You don't have to study law, but just understand law.
Do you think ChatGPT can help you on that one?
Yeah, ChatGPT can help a lot.
Yeah.
It can help a lot. But ChatGPT is a canvas, right? You have to feed it in order to receive it. And yeah, I think being an entrepreneur is a big decision. I talk about it often because, like in the society that we live in the school we go to, no one's teaching you to be an entrepreneur. They're teaching you how to be an employee. As soon as you graduate from college, what's the first job that you're going to get? It's an employee job. No one's really trying to get you to graduate and become an entrepreneur. So no matter what your journey is towards that, whether you graduated from college, school, or just started working and got into that role, you got to realize that it's such a responsibility, and it's really the difference is the decision that you make on what you want to do in life. So you have to stick to that decision and be well rehearsed. You have to be so adamant, persistent, consistent. And actually, these are advices for any career that you're doing. Even as a DJ, I would say the same thing to you as well. Even as a DJ, learn law so you can do great contracts for yourself, and be the best that you can at your art. Be persistent, be consistent, and just go for it.
What are some of the unseen parts of being a DJ? Because from the face front, you can see it looks like a glamorous life, right?
Is it? Is that what it looks like?
Yeah, when you see people flying here or there on jets and being in the best beach clubs, like drinking whatever, like. So what are some of the unseen parts? Well, I know, and people actually know, and they're in it and they can see it. But from a Instagram shop front, it looks glamorous.
Yeah, I mean, look, you have to put on this face that it's just great all the time. Imagine like doing shows all the time, and you just always have to be in a good mood. But you are though, you do. When you get into that zone, you forget about everything. The sleepless nights, it's also, if you really want to be great at what you do, you have to put in a lot of time and effort into it too. It's not that easy. It could be glamorous, but is this what you can do forever for the rest of your life? Create generational wealth, take care of your entire family, and be one of the greatest to ever have done it? That's the question.
Has there been any role models for you in your career?
So many different ones. So many different ones in different categories, different genres, different, I pick up from all the greats. Like, I am just fascinated by people who have excelled in the career path that they've taken. I'm so curious about how they did it, what they did, what is their characteristics like, all those things. So many different role models.
I did see that you worked alongside Will Smith. So what was that like?
One of the greatest.
How did that happen?
Yeah, one of the greatest human beings I've ever met in my life. And when you said role model, actually, I was thinking about Will Smith as well. So I was like, if you were going to tell me like pick one person, it would be him. Just a super cool, humble guy. He's done so many great things in his career. Great conversations, just his energy in the room. When you walk into the room, he just remembers everyone by name. He always asks me about like my kids, always very courteous and just a lot of knowledge. Like, he's written this great book. I'm currently in the middle of listening to the audiobook actually. And just a real life guy.
How did that happen?
I got an email once from somebody who needed a barber, and I own a barber shop. And I wasn't in town. I was actually hosting the Oscars red carpet. I was in LA at the time. And we went through all the details, which hotel, blah, blah, blah. At the end, it's like, this is a VIP client. No one can talk about it. It's Will Smith. I was like, there's no way. And I put a picture of him on a vision board like 2 or 3 years before that, him and his family. And I'm like, this is vision board moment coming to life. I'm like, can't believe I'm not there. I set it up. They went there. Got his haircut. The barber sent me a picture of him. I'm so jealous. I'm like, I cannot believe it. A week later, they called like, he needs a touch up again. I'm like, I'm still here. I cannot believe it. Fine. Sent the barber again. Second time, done. I came back to Dubai maybe another week, like a week after that, and he was still here. And he needed another appointment. And I went with the barber this time. I'm like, I met him. I said, hey, this is my barbershop, my barbers, and great to meet you. And crazy story. I put your picture up on my vision board. He's like, oh, cool. He's like, do you produce music? I said, yeah. He's like, do you have a studio? He's like, all right, come through the studio tonight. I was like, there's no way. I call my producer. I'm like, yo, Will Smith's coming tonight. He's like, there's no way. Sat there, and then we were like waiting there, empty office, on the dot, 5 p.m. Boom, he walks in. Walks into the studio, listens to some beats. We took some pictures. Like, I'm having dinner tonight. You should come join us at the IFC. Just talk to my manager, and he'll arrange it all. He left, and me and my producer looked at each other. We're like, Will Smith just really walk in here? Was it really him? And I'm like, are you coming to the dinner? He's like, no way, I'm not coming. I'm too shy. He's like, I'm not going alone. He's like, it's probably just, he's just probably being like,
too shy,
too courteous. Like, Will Smith's probably being just like humble and just inviting us. I called the manager. I'm like, hey, is the dinner still on? He's like, yes, 8 p.m. Mr. Smith is expecting you there. So we sat down for dinner, and yeah, it was a super cool time, conversation. And he came back to the studio another time. We recorded a song together, never got released, but just
where is the song? I want to hear it.
No one's heard it, and no one can hear it.
Do you used to sign something off, or what happens?
We didn't sign. That's the problem.
Okay.
Yeah. So the way music works is you always you come up with ideas, but not all songs get released. But I'm so grateful for the opportunity to have recorded the song with them, to have had that experience. Like, it was just a really cool thing. So it's like,
can we ask for Will Smith to give you permission to release it?
If you see him, please do.
Oh, we'll figure out a way. You just mentioned a vision board. Yeah. Might stick us on the vision board. So
right up there. Huh?
So vision boards, do you visualize all the big goals that you've ever achieved?
I've done one great vision board once in my life, and pretty much like 90% of it has all come through. Almost all.
Where did visualization come from for you? Like, when did you figure out, oh, here, I should create a vision board? Did
I read something about it. I read something that said, like, you can visualize all you want. Like, we all want this great life, whatever it is, what great life means for you, whether it's a penthouse, a 3-bedroom apartment, a villa, a mansion, a palace, whatever. Right? And you visualize like how you want to live and travel, or whether you want to fly first class, business, economy, private jet, budget airline, whatever. You visualize it, right? But you can forget about this picture that you had about how you want to do things, right? That business that you wanted. But if you actually put it all down, take pictures and titles and put it out and look at this thing every single day, it's gonna come to life in some way or form if you're continuously putting your attention and manifesting these things. And I'll explain to you how that concept works, right? You never wanted to buy a certain type of car, right? Then you have your mind set on this, whatever car, whether it's a Tesla, a Mustang, or a Jaguar. A red one, red interior, white on the outside, red on the inside, convertible. You know the car, right? But you're not going to remember every day. Now, if you took a picture of this car, of this white Ferrari, red interior, with the top down, because that's how you like it. You put this picture on this vision board. 2 or 3 years later, when a couple of those things are happening and this opportunity comes up, and you see this opportunity to buy this white Ferrari with red interior being sold on Dubizzle, and you put that picture on your vision board, the universe is here in front of you saying, here it is. Mm. You go for it, and you do it, and your vision board comes to life. Mm.
Before you perform...
True story, by the way.
Yeah.
True story. True story.
I love this, because I do think it's really important to do things twice, once in your mind and one in your physical body.
Yeah.
And I think for me, anything big that I've ever done, or any kind of public speaking events, I visualize myself actually getting up and speaking before I do it. So it's like you're pre-rehearsing, so it's already been done.
Yeah.
The situation's been already done. Have you ever done that when you're performing?
Yeah. Especially in a lot of the MC jobs that I do that usually. How I'm going to walk, where I'm going to walk. I go practice how when I put my paper here, when I turn it over here, if I'm reading that. Or when I'm DJing, same thing as well. I know, like, the other DJs played before me, and they must have messed around with all the settings, right? I don't want to look and decide, okay, while I'm playing, oh, he's put this setting. No, right before I start, this setting, that's mine. Boom, boom, this, that, this. Full reset. Mm. Now we start.
Have you ever had a situation where things have gone terribly wrong and you've performed so bad and you've gone home and you thought,
so many times.
So many times. Terrible.
Um, not so terrible at the end. But yeah, there's been times I've showed up, the equipment was a completely wrong equipment, and I'm looking at like 1,000 people in front of me at a private event. I'm on the stage. I'm like, what am I gonna do? Just make it work.
Mm. Have you had any moments where people have come to you and said that was terrible?
Probably. I don't remember it, but probably.
Mm.
Not in real life. Not a lot. No, not really.
Okay.
Yeah, there's people. I mean, you can't. Someone once said, if you want to impress everyone, you got to sell ice cream. Because aside from that, like I can't think of any other job. Like there's people who complain about. There's always someone. You can't please everybody.
Mm. When you make music, do you make it for you or do you make it for others?
I created. It's a mixed feeling. It's a mixed feeling.
Mm.
I'm not releasing anything I won't like, and I won't release something that people won't like. Because what I like and what people like are generally in life, it's been a pretty common thing.
Mm.
There's never really been like, oh, well, he likes that, but people don't like that.
Has there been any music that you've created that has completely taken you by surprise and has gained a lot more traction than what you ever thought?
Yeah, I made a song about a drink called karak,
I've heard it.
and I didn't think like that was gonna be like it was one of my biggest songs ever. I just created that song as a joke. We used to drink karak all the time across from my studio, and I told my producer, I'm like, let's make a song about karak, and I played it to a video director, and like 5 or 6 years later, he calls me. He's like, hey, listen, I have a brand who wants to like shoot the whole video, and can we bring this project to life? And I said, sure. And yeah, it became a huge trend. Like everywhere I go, like people are playing that song. I opened the Karak place as a result of it. Like we took the Karak world by storm. But yeah, I think that was the surpriser, and that happens sometimes. The song you least expected.
How long does it take to actually produce music for you?
It depends on song to song.
Mm.
You know, some of them are like a couple hours. Some of them can take years.
Has any of your music actually taken you years?
Yeah.
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 And during that year process, how much of it changes?
You have to change the song because it doesn't stay the same anymore.
Mm.
And so, some of them might not even see the light of day. It's just all part of the process. But also, music changes with time as well, unless you've made a timeless type of song. Ideas change, music changes, and yeah, there's a little bit of change that goes into it.
Mm. So since you've been in the music industry, I've seen your genres have changed. How has anyone come to you and said, no, you should niche down and you should just stick to the one thing and stay in the one thing and really develop that?
Not really.
Mm.
Not really. I mean, nothing serious. Every now and then I'll get someone, please play some Tupac. Come on. I'm like, here's an Afro House remix of it.
Mm. Yeah, because when they say like you should stay in your own lane.
Yeah.
Have you ever felt like, oh, maybe I should go back in my lane? Or do you find, nah, you're happy to create whatever you want?
My lane is so big, like wherever I go, it could be so different and still work. And I think that's just been, part of the jack of all trades traits mentality that I've had. And I'm actually telling myself these days about which lane to go into because I know myself better than anyone else. And I'll listen to people and I'll hear them out and I'll pay attention to the people around me and to the noise, but I'm really just deep inside trying to listen to what the voice inside is trying to say.
I'm going to play devil's advocate here and say, if you were to stay in the one lane, the one genre, do you think your success would amplify?
Which genre?
Like, you went from R&B to house music.
Yeah.
Do you think if you stayed in R&B and developed that further?
I looked at it from an outside perspective, and I started going to a lot of like EDM festivals and dance music festivals and meeting a lot more dance DJs. And I started looking at sort of what's life like for an I'd say urban music, R&B, hip hop, dancehall DJ, and a house music DJ, and they were very different paths. And I was doing both at the same time. I was, what they call this open format DJ. So a lot of the tours I was doing, I was playing a lot more dance music, and then I went back home, I was playing a lot more urban music. And then in my sets, I would still be mixing it, a lot of it here as well. And I've been doing it for a while. But when I was leaning more towards doing like, these big stages and festivals and shows, and I was on the stage and on the DJ booth on the mic and the energy, it was more me than anything. So, and when I look back historically at the first set of CDs that my brother got me from America, I look at those songs and there's a lot of dance songs in there. It was the era where I grew up. I'm like, it was around me the whole time. All these remixes of these songs that are coming out right now, like Rhythm is a Dancer and
I love that.
all those, Missing and Insomnia, they're all songs I grew up around anyways. I started playing UK Garage when I first DJ'd. So it was all there. The answer was there all along. I just had to clear the space around me and create room for what was for me to be for me.
I listened to your house live set.
Did you like it?
I loved it. I listened to it whilst I was running.
Yeah.
So would you say now your pathway is house music moving forward?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, house music is a broad genre, but I think it's also, I'm planning on infusing a lot of like sounds from the Middle East, like the drums into it, like what they're doing with Afro house, like what they're doing with the Indian house and the Latin house. And with all of those as well, all of them together, like create this nice percussive, like house sound that people can have fun and dance to. And it's a representation of what I like. It's still kind of urban. I still remix a lot of urban songs and put a lot of urban parts in it because it's part of me, then that's my lane. So I'm trying to create my own lane. So then when I create music within this lane, then no one needs to tell me to get back into any lane because I'm in my broad lane and this is what it sounds like.
Amazing. So because this is called the Detached Podcast, what would you detach yourself away from that's limiting you today?
Oof. I'm on the detachment journey. I'm not gonna lie. I've very clearly, loudly, and proudly have said the things that I'm detaching myself from, which no longer serves me. It's not, it's not for me. And I'm moving on, and I'm moving on to things that impact myself, people, and life in a positive way. And that's what I want to do. So the detaching journey has already begun. We're just here to tell you that this story is going to be televised.
DJ Bliss, it's been an honor to have you on the podcast.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.